Coronation Street spoilers, death leaves reeling, Sarah cheats with Damon. Rufus is discovered dead on EastEnders next week, but is Stephen to blame? Elsewhere, Sarah feels guilty after falling for the charms of Damon, and Roy finds himself inheriting a pet dog. While George wonders whether he should back Glenda's new business plan. It's all you need to know spoilers-wise about all that's happening on Coronation Street in the week of the 10th to the 14th of April 2023. There's a new complication for Stephen when it comes to the nipper-snapper deal, as Rufus reveals that he now wants 50% of the profits rather than 25%. And what's more, he wants Michael to come work for him at his London office. Feeling overlooked by Stephen, Michael takes great pleasure in telling him that he's been offered a better position by Rufus. But when Michael later calls round at Rufus's house to see him, he gets no reply after pressing the doorbell, so decides to leave him a voicemail message. Having failed to make things official with Rufus, we'll later see Michael go cap in hand back to Stephen, who's now made Nina head of design. But there's actually a good reason why Rufus hasn't got in touch with Michael. He's been found dead by his housekeeper in his swimming pool. It's news that leaves Michael reeling in shock. Damon gives Sarah a lift to a meeting with a client at a nearby hotel when her car gets blocked in. And when the potential buyer makes disparaging remarks about the design Sarah has brought along, Damon masquerades as a music mogul and reveals how impressed he is. With the deal sealed, Damon hands his card to Sarah, who sees that his room number is written on the back. Deciding to venture up there, Sarah initially tears a strip off Damon for interfering. But after downing a glass of champagne, ends up throwing caution to the wind and kissing him passionately. But following passion comes regret, with Sarah seen later in the week trying to convince Adam, and possibly herself, that the time's now right for them to try for another baby. But the pair react differently to their night together, with Adam loved up and Sarah consumed with guilt. Roy will be seen visiting a bat roost in the company of his friend Melvin and dog Freddie. But when the cafe owner returns with just Freddie, Roy explains how Melvin had a funny turn and that there's now nobody to look after his pet. Needless to say, Freddie keeps Roy up all night with his barking. But when Melvin then dies and Roy finds out he's inherited the dog, he decides to drop the hound off at a local shelter. But Evelyn is horrified by his actions. Will Roy subsequently have a change of heart and allow Freddie to live with him? Over at the hospital, Ryan confides in Ally that the doctors won't discharge him until he's seen his own injuries. As gently as she can, Ally tries to help Ryan see that he's been putting it off. And, later, Ryan admits to Carla that he doesn't think he'd be able to manage without Ally's support. Estelle has news for Glenda. The Weatherfield franchise of Little Big Shots is up for grabs, and it's hers for the bargain price of £5,000. Glenda then accepts the offer, but needs to find the cash fast, hence George telling Eileen that he's planning on funding his sister's new project. However, Eileen reckons it's a scam and that George will come to regret his investment. Eileen comes away from the conversation thinking that George has decided to keep hold of his money. But she's left furious later in the week when she overhears Glenda saying only 2 kids have signed up, and a horrified George pointing out that he can't afford to lose £5,000. Can Glenda turn things around and make a success of things?